So back in December, Saber released their monthly community update, mostly just to let us know what we should be expecting in patch 12 whenever it finally drops at some point in either late January or more than likely early February. However, I will throw out that as of now, no official date has been released, so that could very well end up being incorrect, and we might see it even later than that, but I don't think we're going to be seeing it any earlier. Now, one of the things that Saber threw out in this update is something fans have been waiting for quite some time, and that is additional head and voice cosmetic changes available, featuring 3 different Space Marine chapters, that being the Blood Angels, the Space Wolves, and of course everybody's favorite, the Black Templars. Now, a lot of people were very excited for this. This is something that the community has been asking for very early on within the game's life cycle, and we're finally going to be getting it. Unfortunately, it seems that this announcement was met with a little bit of a mixed response, and this was due to Saber's follow-up stating that while yes, this would be added to the game, it was going to be its own standalone DLC option. And I think it would be safe to assume that if they do other chapters in the future, which again, I feel like they most likely would, that seems like a very easy layup and an easy way to make money, they would also be their own standard DLC content. Now, the reception, it was a little bit mixed. Now, it wasn't mixed in the traditional sense of where we had some people who saw this as a positive thing and we had others who saw it as a negative. It was more a combination of people were either understanding or just had an overall negative response to it. Now, I will say for myself personally, follow a little bit more towards the negative side. I'm not taking it too wildly though, because I do understand a lot of the points that were made by the people who were more, I guess I would call it, on the understanding side of the fence. And so the arguments that I heard mostly on that end, which again I do agree with, is that this DLC, it requires them bringing in additional voice actors to go through, re-record a bunch of lines, because it won't just be for the new PvE stuff that they'll be doing that for, and probably also the PvP, but it'll also be the ones that are already done. So hey, you have to hire those voice actors. Plus, at the end of the day, it is a business. You do want to make money that you can hopefully put towards funding other various projects within the game. Again, I get all those arguments. My big issue is, though, is that for how expensive the yearly passes are, I feel like we should be able to get more content out of them than what we're currently already getting. Now, myself, I've bought both of the year passes, year 1 and year 2, and I'll be honest with you, if there's a year 3, I'm probably gonna buy it. I love this game. I have a fantastic time with it. I enjoy LARPing around as some of the different Space Marine chapters, so I definitely get, I feel like, my money's worth. However, I do think that for how expensive these year passes are, I think any additional content, at least on the cosmetic side, that does come out that they decide to add as paid DLC, I think if you're someone who's invested in the year 2, or if this is something that continues into year 3, maybe that pass as well, I feel like it's something that you should be getting for no additional charge. My main reason for saying this is, for starters, I feel like, again, while the content is worthwhile, I enjoy it, you don't really get a whole lot out of it, especially with the fact that, so our last update that we got the Blood Angels champion, which was phenomenal looking. But then we also got the Salamander chapter pack, which honestly only had 4 additional chapters in it. Granted, I know lore-wise, the Salamanders, they kind of suffered a little bit. They've been through some shit. But the next update that we're going to see, we're going to be getting a Raven Guard champion, and then we will also be seeing as well a Carcharodon's chapter pack, which, hey, they are their own independent legion, so we're not probably going to be seeing a whole lot of material added with that, other than just probably some armor permutations or different iconography that are used by the Carcharodons. And that's something that we're going to be seeing later on as well, because I know the next update, while it will be Iron Hands, the one after that, again, we will be seeing the Raptor cosmetic pack, and then there's going to be a redacted champion pack. So again, we're going to be getting to a point where we're not going to be seeing as many customization options. And so again, I feel with the price that you're paying for it, Saber should be willing to give you your money's worth. And again, this is something that people have been asking for quite a while. And overall, yeah, the year passes, again, they are expensive. I mean, I believe, and I could be wrong, you know, margin of error might be $5. We're not going to count tax or anything like that and get really dumb with it. But essentially, if you've bought both year passes just on their own, you're roughly spending the same amount as what you would just for the base game. And unfortunately, I kind of feel that this is a scummy thing that's been going on, not just in Space Marine 2, but in gaming as a whole. I personally remember a time when, you know, when you bought the season pass, that meant any sort of content that was added within that year, as long as you had the season pass or it wasn't like a very standalone kind of one-off gimmick, you were going to be granted that. However, it kind of seems to be more of a trend in gaming of where there's only going to be a certain set amount of content that you'll be given. Anything that they choose to do above that, hey, you're going to have to pay money for it. And overall, hobbies are getting more expensive. People want to see more bang for their buck. I totally get it because I'm on that side as well. I don't like the fact that, you know, it feels like you have to be nickel and dime for every little thing. And truthfully, I just see this as a very small way for Saber to rack up an easy win by, you know, hey, you invested into the game, cool. We're gonna make you feel like a valued customer. You were willing to put that money up. Here's a little bonus for you. And honestly, even if it wasn't getting the full pack for free, even if it was just something of a discount, I think just acknowledging the fact that people are going out and spending their hard-earned cash on your product, I think it's something that should be, yeah, should just be something that companies take into account and should be thankful of, because, you know, there's a lot of different ways you can go out there and spend your money. And if you're choosing to spend it on one specific company because they make a product that you really like, you want your customers to feel like they're valued. But overall, that's just my kind of opinion on it. You know, I don't believe at this point there's going to be anything that we can do to rectify it. But I think hopefully if maybe there's a big enough, you know, uproar about it, maybe future editions that they do, or who knows, we might even have to wait until Space Marine 3, but hopefully this is a trend that we can kind of break, because again, I don't want to sound like I'm being too harsh on Saber, because they've definitely done a lot of good things, and I know people like to give them grief, and sometimes rightfully so. Don't get me wrong, they're not perfect, but I do think compared to a lot of other companies out there, they do a pretty decent job. Again, for me, this is just something that seemed like such an easy layup, an easy win for the company to get and really win over a lot of fans and encourage them, you know, to take that step and buy the higher end products so that they can enjoy all this stuff and really kind of help them delve more into Warhammer as a whole. But overall, like I said, that's just my 2 cents on the whole topic there. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. Again, personally myself, I will be buying it just because I do enjoy LARPing around as my favorite chapter. And not gonna lie, as much as I do like the Ultramarines, it's just gonna be a little bit refreshing to finally hear something other than shouting out for Gilliman. I think it's gonna be something that helps give, aside from the cosmetics, a way for you to really make your character your own. But as always, thank you for watching, and we will catch you next time. There we go, we did it.